Growing up and seeing movies like Terminator, iRobot, and Ex Machina definitely painted a fear-based picture for me and millions of other people around the world when it comes to AI. And today on the show, I'm going to share with you how I hated AI until I did this. How one shift turned fear into a superpower. I went from worrying about the future of both my company's e-learning partners and athlete with asthma to the possibilities for my companies, my career, and my life. At first, I thought AI would mean that e-learning, online courses, training and development, all of these things that I've worked so hard to serve clients and students powerfully with at e-learning partners were going to go away. I thought that my passion for serving people powerfully who are athletes who either have asthma or another sort of limitation that may be preventing them from achieving their goals, I thought I'd have to throw that idea out the window. Fast forward from December 2023 to March 2025, and all of this changed. I went from thinking, what will AI take away from me, to what can AI help give me? And I'm going to share with you my 3 principles to help you future-proof your mindset in your career, your business, and your life so that you can elevate yourself to a new era of success. And if you want to take anything I share today in this episode or on this podcast in general to the next level, I invite you to join my future-proof learning community. By joining this powerful community, you will master AI, design transformational learning experiences, and stay ahead confidently and creatively as the future of education evolves. I want you to imagine thriving while others are being replaced by AI, serving more and more customers and learners powerfully than ever before. By joining my future-proof learning community, you are going to set up your career, your business, and your life now and for the future as technology and AI continues to change the landscape of the human existence. This community is a learning experience by design, combining a powerful online course called the Future-Proof Learning Bootcamp with 24/7 community access to me and powerful educators, business owners, L&D professionals, and course creators just like yourself, and group coaching calls interacting with me and experts in the education industry from OpenAI, from Microsoft, and other amazing organizations on the forefront of the technological future of our existence. I invite you to apply, linked in the description below if you're watching on YouTube, or in the show notes if you are listening to this as a podcast. You can also go to elearningpartners.com/FPL to apply today. All right, so now I'm going to share with you the 3 principles and then I'm going to take you through the exact exercise that brought me from fear, scarcity, and to abundance with AI as a superpower today. Principle number 1 to future-proof your mindset is very simple. Scarcity energy versus abundance energy is very different. So what I invite you to do is shift from scarcity to abundance. When you are having thoughts of scarcity, your energy is very low. You have less energy to achieve your goals. You have less energy to make successful, positive, powerful decisions in your life. You have less energy to drive your career, your business, and your life forward. Abundance, on the other hand, is high energy, positive energy, possibility energy. This is where you will find yourself the most creative. When you're feeling scarce, you are in survival mode. You are in fight or flight. When you are in abundance, you're in possibility mode. You you are in creativity mode. I want you to think back to when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. What did you think back then? What did you want to do with your life? When we get to the exercise that changed everything for me near the end of this podcast episode, we're going to dig even deeper how my 4-year-old self is able to flourish today because of AI. That's principle number 1. Shift from scarcity to abundance in your mindset. Principle number 2, see opportunities, not obstacles. I don't know about you, but when I am living my day-to-day life and I'm having one of those days where everything just seems to be an obstacle, my energy drops, my creativity drops, I start becoming very negative. Other days, I could literally run into the same challenges and I can flip the script and look at those challenges as opportunities. I'll give you an example. I have been driving the same car since I was 16 years old. I am 34 years old as of the recording of this episode, so I've been driving this car for 18 years. The Toyota 4Runner, one of the best cars ever made, at least for someone living in a state like Colorado. Very outdoorsy, mountainous, etc. Well, I've been driving this car for 18 years. This is the first car I ever got, and I've kept it for 18 years. Well, over the past couple of years, the maintenance costs on this car has increased dramatically. I typically budget a couple $1,000s every year to pay for maintenance. I haven't had to pay a car payment for years on this car. So really, the only costs I have related to this car are gas and maintenance costs. Well, in recent months, the maintenance costs have really started to add up. And a couple of years ago, this was happening as well, and I couldn't get myself out of the obstacle scarcity-based thinking. All I was thinking is, oh my God, the car is breaking down. I have to spend all this money on maintenance. I'm getting tired of this. Every time I take the car into the shop, this is how much it costs. I don't know what they're going to throw at me. Always a new thing, always a new curveball. Do I trust the mechanic? What do I do? Well, now that I've done a lot of work and I've changed my mindset from scarcity to abundance, and I've changed my focus from seeing opportunities, not obstacles, I see an opportunity in this car. Along with being able to really educate myself even more about how my car works, and by comparing one mechanic to another mechanic and how they are flagging different items for maintenance and repair on the car, using AI, by the way, partnering with AI, which is one of the big focuses of my future-proof learning community, is partnering AI to thrive. Remember, you can apply below in the YouTube description or in the show notes. By partnering with AI, I have been able to cross-reference photos from different mechanics to really figure out what I need to do with this car. And the opportunity that I'm seeing is this may be the right time for me to take that jump to having an electric car. And there are still a ton of benefits, tax incentives and other benefits that are available to have electric cars. And from a maintenance perspective, from a cost of having a car perspective, I will not only be able to help the environment by switching to electric, I also believe that I'm going to be able to save money. So now that I'm having all these maintenance costs come up, I'm not looking at it as an obstacle, I'm looking at it as an opportunity. Just because things have been a certain way in your life, in your career, in your business, doesn't mean they always have to be that way. That is a powerful statement. I want you to write that down. Just because things have been how they have been, doesn't mean that they have to stay that way. Just because they are a certain way doesn't mean they have to be that way. So that's principle number 2, seeing opportunities, not obstacles. Now, principle number 3 is very specific to the industry that I'm in, which is e-learning and education. Both my companies, eLearning Partners and Athlete with Asthma. At eLearning Partners, I empower students and clients like yourself to serve other learners and students and customers and employees powerfully with the learning experiences that you create. At Athlete with Asthma, I empower my students, my fellow athletes with asthma, through powerful learning experiences to achieve their goals. Maybe that means running your first marathon. Maybe that means running an ultra marathon like I have and winning an ultra marathon like I have. Well, principle number 3 comes back to changing our philosophy of what we know in the world. For education, for online learning, this means changing from focusing on building online courses to building learning experiences. What does that mean? Well, I have an entire podcast episode comparing online courses, e-learning programs, and learning experiences. I highly recommend you check it out. I have it linked in the YouTube description, and you can search it on your favorite podcasting platform as well. Just search learning experiences and e-learning partners, and you will be able to find it. Now, a learning experience means that you're combining different things. You can combine online courses. You can combine in-person trainings. You can combine AI-powered learning. That may mean chatbots. That may mean different technologies to serve your customers even deeper. For me, at my company, Athlete with Asthma, this means combining technologies that can really aid in tracking training and health and wellness metrics. You can combine that into your learning programs. Instead of just having an on-demand online course or e-learning program, you need to shift your focus into creating experiences. The how doesn't matter as much anymore. The results matter. When we are creating learning experiences, we are focusing on transformation for our learners, for our customers, for our employees, transforming their lives, getting results for our learners, for our people, for you. That is the focus, transformation. Information isn't important anymore. Transformation is the focus. So I highly recommend that you shift your focus from online courses or courses as we know it today to creating learning experiences focused on transformation. Now, how did I go from hating AI to partnering with AI to thrive? Well, I hated AI until I did this. I invite you to open up your favorite generative AI tool. For me, it's currently ChatGPT. 5 years from now, if you're listening to this, it's probably something completely different or some crazy version of ChatGPT that OpenAI has. What I want you to do is open up a new chat. Maybe you're using Gemini. Maybe you're using Copilot, Grok, whatever. Now, I want you to go back and think about what you wanted as a kid, what you like to do. For me, it was make-believe. With my friends growing up, I played a lot of Magic the Gathering and a lot of make-believe. I also was very obsessed with Lord of the Rings, medieval knights. I wanted to be an archer, a knight, riding horseback, all these different things. So I lived in my head a lot as a kid, thinking about these things, doing these things in my head and playing games in the real world where we would pretend that we were running through the forest, flinging arrows through the forest at orcs and goblins. I loved all this. Well, fast forward to 2024, and I got into playing Dungeons and Dragons, which I highly recommend that if you have never tried out Dungeons and Dragons, you should try it out, and you can try it out with me right now in this exercise. I got so obsessed with it because it's basically adult make-believe. Now, kids play this all the time too, but for me, it's a structured form of adult make-believe. And it really combines make-believe with rolling dice and a role-playing game. So if you've ever played a role-playing game on the computer or your favorite game system, that's what Dungeons and Dragons is. Well, we play it almost every single week. Me, my fiance, 3 of my best friends, and we have so much fun. And my favorite part about Dungeons and Dragons, other than spending time with my friends and family, is creating characters and testing out characters and figuring out how they can interact with the world. So what did I do? I decided that I would ask ChatGPT for fun to run a solo Dungeons and Dragons campaign for me using the 5E, the 5th edition rules. So what I want you to do right now, here's the exercise. I want you to play. In my future-proof learning community, we dig deep into the weeds of unlocking your creativity with AI. So I want you to take whatever you want to do. It could be running a solo Dungeons and Dragons campaign, could be playing make-believe, could be playing a board game. I want you to ask ChatGPT or your preferred AI to do it with you right now. For me, I'm going to ask Chat to run a D&D campaign for me. Here's my prompt. Can you run a solo D&D campaign for me using 5E rules, starting with a level 1 wizard based on the character of Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings in a campaign that takes place on Middle-earth? What does your prompt look like? Maybe your prompt has Aragorn as the main character. For me, Aragorn is my favorite character in Lord of the Rings, but I've already ran those prompts before. That's why I chose Gandalf this time around. Here we go. Throw solo character details. Do you want to play Gandalf himself, a new character inspired by him? What race? So it asks me a bunch of questions. First, do I want to play Gandalf himself or a new character? Gandalf himself. What race would I like character to be? I'm going to say human. Do I want a custom background? Yes. Tone and style. Do you want this campaign to feel epic? Epic, like Lord of the Rings. Or more personal, exploratory? Would you like to follow canon closely or mix canon with original storylines? Mixed. Magic and mechanics. Do you want to reskin 5e spells to feel more Gandalf subtle and dramatic? Yes, make spells like Gandalf's. Should we level slowly through story milestones? Yes, level slowly. When you're talking back and forth with your generative AI platform, some clarifying questions are probably going to occur. And when you're using AI, I highly recommend that you go back and forth 3 to 5 times with whatever AI you're using to really get into the details of what you want it to do. Yes, this includes when you're playing a game. I'll show you the same thing with playing a simpler game like Monopoly. We want to go back and forth a few times so we make sure we have the rules set before we actually run the game. Here we go. Character. Session 1, the wind whispers of the darkness. Here's the year. What do you do? This is awesome. So now I'm ready to start the campaign. Gives me some options of what I want to do next. Adult make-believe. Let's say that our prompt is something about Monopoly. Now I want to run a solo Monopoly game for me with a total of 5 players on a board that mimics if I was playing Monopoly in Middle-earth instead of the normal locations. Let's see what chat comes up with. Awesome, let's set up your solo Middle-earth themed Monopoly game. We'll adapt classic Monopoly properties into Middle-earth locations, dark blue, purple, orange. We have Mount Doom, Barad-dûr, Hobbiton, Bywater. Cool. Player setup, player 1. I am using Gandalf's staff. Ready to begin? Yes, roll for player 1. So maybe growing up, you always wanted to play Monopoly, but in Middle-earth. Maybe growing up, you wanted to play a chess game, but with Lord of the Rings pieces. You're seeing the theme here with my mind and how I unlock the power of AI with my creativity. I invite you to do the same. And what I want you to do is go back to where you were as a kid, open up your mind creatively, prompt back and forth with AI, and then let me know in a comment. If you're watching this in a video on YouTube, comment below. Or if you are listening to this as a podcast on your favorite podcasting app, I invite you to leave a review and let me know what you have been doing with AI creatively to really expand your mind to the opportunities instead of the obstacles, to focus on abundance instead of scarcity. I'm looking forward to hearing how AI is changing your life for the better, and I'll see you in the next episode.